going on, everybody? This is Johnny from the Hangout spot, and I am here live and direct in the Pro Box training facility with 154-pound title contender, my guy Erickson the Hammer Lubin, you're about to do it up May 10th, big fight, main event in Kissimmee, your hometown, against undefeated Audrey Holmes, man. So how's the training camp been, champ?
It's been great, man. Training camp's been great. Had a long, strong camp. I'm ready. I've been ready. And yeah, I'm looking to just come back and get back to where I left off.
Oh, absolutely. I'll just hold it. Yeah. So this is I know you put some good work in today, man. I know you put some good work in today in the sparring. So you are looking ready for May 10th. But this is your first training camp here at the Pro Box facility with Mark, right? Talk to me about that experience, man. How's it been working with Coach Mark Fay?
We click well. Me and Mark, I've known him for a while. He has a great style of training that I fit into well. And he's been playing well on my mental. So, I felt like that's one of my strongest assets, is coming with a strong mental game and always being ready in training camps and always working hard. And he just pretty much added on to it by, encouraging me, pushing me every day, and helping me do things that, some people might think that can't be done. We the type to get it done. So it's been a great training camp. I appreciate Mark to the fullest. He's a great trainer. And it's gonna show on May 10th. So I'm excited to go into the fight with him. And everybody tune in May 10th.
No, absolutely. And he also has a good young stable of young fighters, a good array of young fighters, man. How does it feel to be fighting on the same card with basically your stablemates, you headlining, and everybody else basically else on the card? You got Blast, you got Najee, you got Dominic. How does it feel, man, to be fighting with your stablemates?
It's great, man. These guys are the young guys that are pushing. It's crazy I call them the young guys because I've always been the young guy, but, these guys, they're the young guys that's pushing me in camp. Challenging me, and I challenge them. I'm passing down some knowledge to them. Even though I'm, at this level of title contention and stuff like that, I'm a top contender. I still, learn different things from the younger guys because, you never stop learning in this game. So, it's been great. And I think they're gonna do well on May 10th. I think they're coming to steal the show, but it's my show, so I ain't gonna let them.
Nah, that's what I'm talking about. So let's get into your opponent, man. Like I said, Audrey Holmes, undefeated guy. You guys have some familiarity from the amateurs, but there's been some trash talk that has been going on, right? So it looks like there's no love lost in your Vegas media workout. He pulled up. There was some words. It looked like you guys were about to thump it out. Were you surprised that he pulled up and he had that type of energy?
No. I've been around the block, man. So I know nervous energy when I see it. I know. I've been around the block, man. I've been here a while, so he's hungry. He doesn't want to lose his O. He wants to get to this elite status of fighters and want to be fighting for titles and stuff like that. And he pretty much is just in the way. So I gotta go in there and I gotta run him over and let him know that he's not on my level. He's a good young fighter. He's fought his fair shake of opponents. But none of those opponents are anything on my level, nothing on my level, and the guys that I fought. I fought the cream of the crop of this division, and he hasn't even seen close to it. I'm the first guy he's gonna get in there with, so I know he's gonna go in there real anxious, ready. He's gonna be on point that night, so I'm definitely coming my A game. It's good to be back. It's been a little long layoff. Probably the longest layoff of my career, almost 2 years, like a year and a half. But I think the layoff did me well because I've been boxing for like 25 years, I started this game when I was just 4 years old, sparring dudes, in the gym with the top guys, like Andre Berto, Keith Thurman, Winky Wright, those guys, Antonio Tarver. I've been in the gym with all these guys since I was young, so just being this age right now and taking just a 1.5 year layoff, so be it. That doesn't do nothing to my game. I've been doing this for so long. The layoff was pretty much needed in my opinion. And now that I'm refreshed and I'm back, I'm in my prime. I'm 29 years old. this is the strongest I've ever felt. This is the most like in my mind, like I'm more like, what's the word I'm trying to use? I'm more. I think a lot more. I think a lot more. The experience level is just like it's helped me. So my thinking level is just on a whole nother level. Yeah, I'm ready to show the experience. I'm ready to show the levels of experience. You know, we fought in the amateurs, but I'm not even dwelling on that. I'm not looking on that to like, you know, help me or motivate me and give me confidence coming to this fight, because that don't really do nothing, because that was 12 years ago. That was 13 years ago. That was long ago. And I'm just looking at that as like, you know, do it twice so they don't think that is luck. It's just, you know, I got to do it again. You know, and boxing, you always got to prove yourself. You got to prove yourself over and over and over. And after you prove yourself, you got to prove yourself again. So I'm just looking to do that on May 10th. I'm in front of my hometown crowd. They haven't seen me headline a card yet. So I'm very excited to go in there and give my fans a show, give my family a show, my mother, my father. Mother's Day is the next day. You know, I'm ready to give my mother, my father a show. My kids, they've been to. My daughter's never been to one of my fights, but my son, he's been to only like a handful of fights. So I'm looking to go in there and just, you know, have a big breakout, just a big breakout, and just show the world that I'm still here. I'm still one of the top guys in boxing, one of the top guys in the division, and I think this second half of my career is the most important, and I feel like I'm gonna show the best that the world has ever seen of Erickson Lubin.
That's dope, man. You know, you seem more focused. And one of the questions, there was two things I was going to ask you that you actually brought up. One is the layoff, and it looks like it was well needed, and you obviously took that and turned it into a positive. Because you know the fans, they're always going to ask about ring rust,
yeah,
right, at this level especially.
Yeah.
And then another thing that you touched upon was the experience factor. Like, you're a different fighter at this point in your career. So I think the layoff, I think sometimes that's much leaner. Again, new camp, you know, new coach, new perspective. You know, I think it's going to be, you know, it's going to be a good thing for you, man. You seem very, very excited. But again, you know, going back to Audrey, I'm not a fighter. So how hard is it to kind of keep your composure when you got a guy that comes at you like that? Like, does it make it more motivating for you now to go out there and prove a point and knock this guy out?
I don't feel like it does anything. Because, like I said this before in the interview, like, the motivation that comes is from within. You know, like, I haven't became a world champion yet. You know, I fought at the top level. I fought world champions. I beat world champions. But I haven't held that title myself yet. So that's the motivation that's in my heart, to go in there and just take care of whoever's in the way. It could be Audrey or Holmes. It could be whoever else. You know, I'm looking to fight guys like Fundora, who has unified titles, Bakram Murdazaliev, guys like Charlo, you know, to get back. Just the champions, you know. I think Terrence Crawford has the other belt. I'm just looking to go in there with a champion. So the motivation that it comes from within, you know, just not being able to hold that title yet, but it soon come. I believe so. You know, there's nothing but big fights on the horizon after this fight. I'm not looking past this dude. Like I said before, he's hungry. He's a young fighter, not so young in age, but young in experience. So it's just my job to go and show him that there's levels in his game. And you know, like I said, the layoff, I know it did me well. You know, it shows in the gym, it shows in my attitude, and I'm just prepared to give my hometown fans a great show.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. And this is an eliminator for an IBF title, this fight? So Bakram will be next in line. And he's a guy that nobody's really talking about. Like, nobody's really calling him out. But you seem like you want that smoke. I think stylistically that would be an excellent fight. You were there for the Tim Tszyu fight. And I know that was shocking, right? Especially for me. Everybody in the building was thinking Tim Tszyu was going to win and potentially fight you next. You know, I think he fucked up the plans there. But, yeah, man, stylistically, how excited are you for a fight with Bakram?
Yeah, like you said, man, you know, he fucked up the plans with Tim Tszyu. He went in there and, you know, he just imposed his will and had a good left hook working for him. And, yeah, he went in there and just fucked up all the plans. But Tim Tszyu, you know, to me, he just went in there a little careless, a little, like, too overconfident, trying to go in there and just finish the fight against him and get that title and run a rematch with Fundora. I think he was looking more towards, you know, even though I was next in line. You know, right now I'm at the top of the IBF list, so I'm looking to go in there with not just Murtazaliev, but I'm looking to go in there with all the champions in the weight class. You know, if Murtazaliev is next, so be it. Let's do it. I can't wait to fight a guy like him. He's a champion from Russia. You know, he's a strong fighter, and yeah, it'll be a great fight stylistically. I just feel like I'm the better man. Like I said, this second half of my career is very important, and I'm gonna make sure I capitalize on all opportunities and come out as the guy in the 154-pound division.
Dope. Speaking of Fundora, now he's a unified champion. There's word that the WBO is trying to put together a fight with him and Xander Zayas next. How do you feel about that fight? Do you feel like Xander's ready for a WBO title? Because there's some people that I talk to that say he might be a little bit too young, but then there's some people that say he wants that smoke. He's skilled. Let him go up in there and do that. But then I look at people like you should be in those positions instead of a younger guy. So how do you feel about that whole situation?
It's politics, man. That's how I feel about it. Just coming clean about that. I feel like Xander's a little inexperienced. He has good skills. He's a good young fighter, but he hasn't fought nobody. He hasn't fought nobody to get him to that caliber, to get him to be a world champion. You know, I think he's been protected. I think they protected him his whole career. You look at the guys he's fought, he hasn't fought nobody. And, you know, he's a very marketable kid. Like I said, it's politics, so, you know, I'm just rolling with the punches. Whatever happens in this game, it's no surprise to me at this point. You know, there's a lot that's been going on. There's guys that win the belt, lose the belt. There's guys that undeservingly get title shots. And, you know, I just feel like I'm just going to keep my head down, keep grinding, fight the guys that I need to fight to get to the title. And, you know, in due time, it's my time to shine. It's hammer time. You know, this fight right here, like I said, it leaves me as the mandatory. It leaves me as the mandatory after I beat Audrey or Holmes, and then we're gonna fight Murtazaliev in a great fight. I'm sure it will be. And, you know, God willing, we catch that title. We get that title.
That's what's up. I know I've told you in the past, man, the fight that I want to see you again, and I want you to get that Fundora fight back. Yeah. For sure. That was an excellent fight. I mean, you put him down. He did what he needed to do. But that's a fight that needs to happen. And now there's titles at stake, though. But he's a big guy. Like, he's a tall guy. He may grow out the division. You know, do you think that he'll be around long enough to be able to fight you eventually?
He said he could make 147, but we'll see. I think that's a pay-per-view matchup. I think that me and him running it back, you know, that was a great first fight. We had the round of the year, maybe fight of the year, and some sites and stuff like that. But I can't wait for a rematch like that. You know, I'm looking to rectify all my defeats. A fight with Charlo also intrigues me, and I'm sure it will intrigue the fans. You know, the first one was, you know, the fans weren't able to see nothing. You know, they weren't able to see nothing. A lot happened since. You know, a lot has happened since. I'm a much different fighter. The fans know that. I know that. Charlo knows that. And, you know, that's a fight I'm definitely looking forward to. I'm looking forward to a fight with Charlo. Looking forward to a fight with Fundora as well. Fundora's a great fighter. He's a champion right now. But they're kind of showing me that they protected him a little bit too, putting him in with a guy like Cordell Booker. No disrespect to my guy, Cordell Booker, but I just think that, you know, he was a little bit inexperienced, not having the experience to fight at that level yet. Didn't have no build-up fights to that. And, yeah, I'm looking to get in there with him.
A couple more, champ. That Charlo fight, you mentioned that. That's another one that I would love to see you get back in the ring with. Do you feel, if you could go back and do it all over again, do you feel like you were a little bit too young for that fight? Or would you do it all over again and take that fight at that point in your career? Because you were very, very young, you know, when you took that fight. Yeah. Admirable, and like I said, but would you do it differently if you had a chance to do that?
That's a good question. That's a real good question. At where I was, I think I'd do it all over again. To be honest, you know, like I was living the wrong way. I was doing things the wrong way. You know, I'll do it all over again. To be honest, you know, I didn't have a full camp for that. I know people say, you know, no excuse, but before they make an excuse. But, you know, having a 5-week camp, losing close to 40 pounds, you know, in just 5 weeks, and just not living like the boxing lifestyle like I am now. You know, outside of camp, inside of camp, living that boxing life. You know, being a young guy with a whole lot of buzz behind him and a lot of people on me. I think it kind of got to my head at that age, but I feel like now where I am, I'm doubted by a lot of people. You know, they still hang that loss over my head and stuff like that. But I think either now or then, I'd love to have that rematch with Charlo. I'd love to fight him again. You know, we fought on the same day. Our last fights were on the same day, September 30th, 2023, on the Canelo and Charlo card. You know, we both fought that day, and I'm looking to get back in there with him. He's a great fighter. He's been a champion for a long time, and you know, it'll be great for boxing. I think me and him, and you know, I only lost to the two champions. Charlo was undisputed. Fundora's a unified champion. It's not like I'm, you know, taking fights against any Joe Schmo and just losing to those guys. You know, when I get in there with those guys, they see what happened. You know, it take the elite to go ahead and, you know, even blemish my record. You know, in my head, once I take care of those two losses, I feel like I'm undefeated again.
No, absolutely, man. It's never a loss, man. It's a lesson, man. Everything in life happens for a reason. Like I said, I think that's made you an even better and more focused and hungrier fighter now at this point in your career. I think you're going to get those back, man. I definitely think you're going to handle your business on May 10th, and you're going to get those back. But once you get by this guy, if you could play your own promoter, who would be your next 3 dream fights?
My next 3 dream fights, okay. I'd say I go in there with Bakram Murders-Aliyev, capture the IBF title. And then I unify the second fight against Fundora with all 3 titles on the line, the WBO, the WBC, and the IBF title. And then I'd like to get in there with one of my favorite fighters, Terrence Crawford. I think that'd be, you know, those are my 3 dream fights, you know, to go in there with somebody like that and mix it up with him. I think it'd be great.
I love it. I love it. Speaking of Terrence, man, he may be getting that Canelo fight in September, man, moving up 2 weight classes, man. Do you think he has a shot?
Yeah, I think he has a shot for sure. You know, he's a fighter. He's a great fighter. He's one of my favorite fighters. But just in my opinion, I think that, you know, Canelo's just a little bit too big. I think Canelo's a very crafty guy, too. You know, he has shown signs of slowing down a little bit. But this is a big fight, and you never know what can happen. I just think that Canelo fighting at 168, I'm just calling a spade in my opinion. I could be wrong. You know, whatever. I'm rooting on Terrence. I'm rooting for him. You know, he's my guy. I would like for him to win that fight, but just in my opinion, I think that Canelo's a big 168. You know, he's not a big 168. He's a way bigger guy than Crawford at 168. He's, you know, short. He's about the same height as Crawford, and you know, I just think size plays a difference. I think they got weight classes for a reason.
For sure, for sure. The last question, man. And I asked this to Dominic, your stablemate, and I asked it to Najee, and I want to ask it to you. Give me one word that describes each of them, starting with Najee Lopez.
Okay, I think Najee Lopez.
One word. The first word that comes to your mind to describe Najee.
Skillful.
Blas Valsaint.
Crafty.
Dominic Valle.
Relentless.
Edgar Berlanga.
Dynamic.
Dynamic. Mark Fay.
I gotta come on with a going for my man Mark.
First thing that comes to mind.
Mentor.
What about his brother Ray Fay?
Ray is a teacher, a great teacher.
Last but not least, Erickson the Hammer Lubin.
The Hammer, dynamic, powerful, speed, relentless, crafty.
That's what's up, man. I was going to ask you. Well, one more, man, because I'm loving this, and then I'll let you get out of here. Edgar Berlanga, man, looks like he may be getting that July 12th, man, Shiraz fight, man. How you feel about that one, man?
I think, to tell you the truth, I think Edgar, he's gonna beat the shit out of him. I think he's gonna beat the shit out of Shiraz. You know, he's moving up. Shiraz is moving up, so I know he's kind of like. I think he called out Edgar too, and they just made that fight. But Edgar had him on his hit list way before that. You know, he came to the gym and showed us a hit list. And Shiraz was on it before even Shiraz made that interview, coming out with that. But I think Edgar gonna go in there and, you know, he's started camp already. He's looking to be his best self. You know, I think a lot of people overlook Edgar as well, and I think that he's gonna show the fans what he's made of. He's a dynamic puncher. That's what I describe him as, dynamic. He's a dynamic puncher. I think he might punch a little too hard for Shiraz. I think once Shiraz get hit by him, he gonna know that he in a world of trouble.
I love it. Edgar's my guy as well as you, champ. What do you want to say to your fans before May 10th?
I want everybody to follow me on Instagram at Erickson Hammer. Follow me on Twitter at Erickson Hammer L. Facebook Erickson Lubin. And I want everybody to tune in on May 10th and watch this masterpiece. I feel like I'm coming with a masterpiece on May 10th. I want everybody to tune in on ProBox TV and watch me, you know, have a great performance at home. Show the fans that Erickson Hammer Lubin is back, and you know, soon we'll be in a title fight. So just stay tuned. You know, this is gonna be a great fight, and I'm looking to put on a wonderful performance. Stay tuned.
Can't wait, man. You know I'm always in your corner. I'm gonna be there live and direct to support, man. And it's gonna be magical. It's gonna be an explosive night, man. I wish you nothing but the best, champ. I know you're gonna come out of there with your hand raised, and the hangout spot will be riding right next to you, man. You know how we do it up here. Anyway, I am here with Erickson the Hammer Lubin, 154-pound title contender, ready to do his thing. May 10th, main event, Kissimmee. Get your tickets now. It's gonna be fireworks, man. I appreciate the time, champ.
Thank you.